In this session, we will cover virtual machine live migration and virtual machine high availability. So let's talk about live migration in OpenStack. Live migration is a critical feature that allows us to seamlessly move virtual machines between physical hosts without disrupting services or impacting the user experience. As we dive in, it's important to understand that OpenStack provides different methods for migrating instances, each tailored to different storage architectures and deployment scenarios. So that way, you have flexibility in managing your cloud infrastructure. So let's focus on the three types of live migration: shared storage based, block migration, and volume backed migration. For shared storage based live migration, this type of live migration involves instances with ephemeral disks that reside on storage that's shared between the source and the destination hosts. There will be a seamless transfer of instances between hosts without disrupting services, as the disk images are accessible from both hosts. This type of live migration is ideal for environments where storage is centrally managed and accessible across multiple hosts. With block live migration, instances have ephemeral disks that are not shared between the source and the destination hosts. Unlike shared storage-based migration, block migration does not rely on shared storage. Instead, it transfers the entire disk image of the instance to the destination host. There are some drawbacks with this approach, as block migration is incompatible with read-only devices such as config drive, but it's suitable for environments where shared storage is not available or just not practical, giving you that flexibility in migrating instances across hosts with independent storage. Then we have volume-backed live migration. Instances using volume-backed live migration rely on volumes rather than ephemeral disks for storage. This type of live migration transfers the instance's data stored on volumes between hosts, ensuring data persistence and availability. Volume-backed live migration provides greater flexibility and scalability compared to ephemeral disks, as volumes can easily be detached, migrated, and reattached to instances across hosts. So let's show you how this can be achieved in the UI. Hopping back over to the Platform 9 UI and clicking on Instances, here we can select an instance that we would like to live migrate. I'm going to select the Ubuntu Test Virtual Machine. As you can see here, this particular virtual machine resides on the hypervisor ending in 941. When I click on More and click on Migrate Instance, here I can choose the target host to migrate this instance to. So I'm going to select the host ending in 049. However, if I had multiple hosts in my environment, I would see them all listed here, or I can search for a specific host. Once a host has been selected, click on Migrate Virtual Machine, and then we'll see the status reflected in the UI. Now, let's look closely at the host where the instance currently resides on. It currently resides on the host ending in 941. And now that the live migration has been completed, the virtual machine now resides on the host ending in 049. With Platform 9 Virtual Machine High Availability, also known as VMHA, has host failure detection that will trigger an evacuation of instances to other hosts in the event of a failure. In order to enable this, you must have a minimum of 4 hypervisors in an availability zone to enable this feature for it, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Another requirement for VMHA is that all of the hypervisors use shared storage for instance data, or that all instances are booted from volumes. Now, let's see VMHA in action. In this environment, I currently have 4 hosts with VMHA enabled. In the background, I simulated an outage on one particular host, which is now reporting offline. Checking the console status, I can see that the failed member, which is the host, has left the cluster, and now we're just waiting for the Nova Compute service to report down as well. Next thing you know, the Masakari logs are populating messages as it triggers a Nova evacuate operation. Looking at the UI, you can see that the instances are being rebuilt. And now they are up and running on a different server.